I understand it, man. Bingo. Yes, sir.
You know what? I feel like we got jinxed with all that Lakers and 5 stuff, bro. Got straight up jinxed. But you know what? T-Wolves been had the better team. They have more bigs than the Lakers. They play with more sense of urgency than the Lakers. You know, they play better defense than the Lakers. You know, I was thinking about just even talking about like Luka being to blame for the defense. You know, he's not the entire defense. Now, granted, it's easy to look at Luka as the blame of the defense when you try to compare him against Anthony Edwards. Because Anthony Edwards is such an athlete that he's pretty much a two-way basketball player.
For sure.
So if you try to look at Luka like a complete two-way basketball player, it's easy to say, well, he's the reason why. But it takes a collective as a group to be able to have a complete defense. Then on top of that, here's the thing that's frustrating. You have players that are sitting on the perimeter while Luka and LeBron has to be the star players of the team. That's not winning basketball. You can't do that. Not in today's age where now everything is not, you know, just superstars only. No, a lot of these teams that are great right now, like the Clevelands, the OKC Thunders of the world, those type of squads, even the Boston Celtics, who are the defending champions, they built their teams from the ground up. They didn't just go reach out for all these superstars and then just try to make a super team. The Lakers is like one of the last teams that have a superstar type of style play. That kind of stuff doesn't work anymore. So when it comes down to it, all these teams, even the teams that are built organically, they still move around. Players are moving without the basketball. The Lakers, at the end of every game, they stop moving out the basketball. If you start the game without moving out the basketball and you end the game without moving out the basketball, it's going to go where you're going to end up losing, or the team's going to slowly come back every single time, no matter how fast that you get out, no matter how hot you are at the beginning. It's just not sustainable. Exactly. So just looking at the way Luka was playing, Luka did his thing. Luka still played, to me, the same way he played when he was in Dallas. But LA depended on Luka a little too much, dog. You know what I'm saying? A little too much. And that's what I didn't like. I was like, okay, y'all depend on Luka so much. Like, it's going to just get to a point where he's just going to get exhausted. And then here's another thing. I was looking at LeBron. I'm not saying time caught up to him, but LeBron looked slightly frustrated on how the team was just playing in general, because he's like, y'all just still want me to be the number one option every single time? Y'all don't want to move without the basketball? Okay, fine. I'm not going to just drive to the basketball every single time, because what's going to happen is I'm going to drive to the hoop and nobody's going to be aggressive to consistently help me out just in case if we need a rebound. I saw Rui do it a few times, but it wasn't consistently. And that's
used to be really Rui's been consistent about at least trying to help on the rebounding.
But I feel like he's like probably one of the only ones.
Yeah.
One of the only ones that was doing that.
I agree.
I was like, well, shoot, if he's like the only one that's doing it, then how is that helping out? And then here's another thing that's frustrating about that series with the Lakers.
Yeah.
I am a little disappointed in the confidence of Austin Reeves. I feel like Austin Reeves could have been playing a little bit more aggressive on offense. And if your offense is not there, play a little bit more aggressive on defense. Here's the thing about Denver that I think about how they are grateful to have somebody like Russell Westbrook on their squad.
Oh, yeah.
When you have a hustle player, that changes the whole energy of the team. The Lakers don't have that hustle player.
You know, that's coming off the bench like,
yes,
trying to get it. No,
and you need that.
They don't have like a Lou Will.
Huh?
Like a Lou Will.
Yes. You got to have that.
Montrezl Harrell or something.
Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah.
You got to have something like that. Like, that's what, if they had Trez, that type of energy, that's the type of energy they need.
Trez.
They did. You ain't lying, they did, bro. Yeah.
Some guys you have to work around their attitude. Like Dylan Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Because that spark.
Yes.
Like a Marcus Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that spark. It's the intangible thing that he's inciting in each player. That little extra effort, that little extra ounce of hustle, right? Because they see him diving on the floor, getting into somebody's face, Like that energy is contagious.
That
And it's no
dirty
wonder
plays.
why when you have the king of it, he's doing sportscasting now. We go.
Talking about Reggie Miller?
No, the king of hustle, man, dog. He was with Milwaukee before he left. Point guard, journeyman. I'll think of his name later. Anyhow, but yeah, you gotta have that hustle, man. That spark coming off the bench.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, you got to have that, bro.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's a little frustrating about that. Let's get two more. Frustrating that's about it. But tell you another thing.
Yeah.
When I think about another reason why they also left, or why they ended up losing, they couldn't make enough shots, bro. But also like enough rebounds to get more shots. You didn't have nobody rebound the ball. Here's another thing that was frustrating about it. Why didn't they play they center towards the end of that series? Like how many times did we see Jackson Hayes? It's almost like he slowly started fading away and they didn't even play him.
Now he was their spark before they messed up his confidence
Yes.
because he came off the bench. He would come off the bench electric.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Him and Vando come out there with the toughness on defense.
Yep. And I was thinking, that's the part where JJ Redick, he'll get better at that. His first year, he was looking at, we got to match talent on talent, but sometimes you need those sparks to be able to ignite your own superstars.
Well, here's the thing about talent on talent. You can't teach 7 foot. When you have only one 7-footer virtually that you play on your team, and you're going against a T-Wolves, who is arguably one of the largest teams in the league outside of Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't afford not to have him on the court. You might have to fill the gap that he creates, whatever. I don't know the schematic, right? We trust the fact that coaches know what they're doing. But what you going to do with Gobert?
Right.
What you going to do with Reed? Nas Reed when he come out of there? What are you going to do with that?
Man.
Did you just see his stat line for the last game?
I know he almost dropped like 30.
They weren't playing him because the Lakers weren't playing
Jackson Hayes?
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah.
They weren't playing Gobert. But then the last game, they said, forget it. He had 26 points and like 21, 22 rebounds or something crazy.
Looking like a prime
He had
Shaq.
a 20-20.
Looking like a prime Shaq out there, bro.
Because who's going to stop him?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, he was enjoying that. That's another thing. They built up Rudy Gobert's confidence so good going into this next series. Man.
To your point about the Lakers, great take, by the way. I agree with everything you said. I think Austin Reeves is coming into his third dominant scorer personification.
Yeah.
And when they gave him the keys for that stretch of I don't know how many games it was, he did well. Like when JJ said, we need you to dominate scoring for us without LeBron and Luka, he showed up. He showed he can do it. And so now it's just identifying how to keep him in his groove so that he can contribute consistently when you need it now in the playoffs. Because the playoffs is when you're going to be hit with the best defense you ever face. Schematic is going to be extra tight, right? They're going to be creative on how to stop you. So you really got to be consistent on your contribution. As not only a scorer, but if your shot is off, that's what I do. My shot off, I turn to the hustle man.
Guys, too.
I'm playing defense on everybody. I'm hustling. I'm trying to get every rebound. I'm boxing out. People don't understand the effort to box out. Boxing out is an effort.
You know what they needed? They needed a Patrick Beverly.
Pat Beverly is who I was thinking about.
I knew that's what it was. I just couldn't think of his name at the time.
I couldn't even Pat Beverly.
They need a Pat Beverly, bro.
They had Pat Beverly.
Yes.
They let him go.
Yeah.
Certain guys you keep around
Mm-hmm.
just because. You see what I mean? They gave Udonis Haslem a whole role on the team just because. He was like the team leader.
Yeah.
He didn't really play. He played every now and again. He did it last couple minutes, you know what I mean? But Udonis Haslem, they understood how much he mattered to the culture and to the energy and the foundation, right? That they just always kept a spot on for the roster. If I'll keep a Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah.
Let me put a team together.
Yes.
I think that's what we're seeing about with Detroit. We don't have to pivot there yet, but I think that's what we're seeing about like a young Detroit.
Yeah.
They're owning that toughness aspect and that hustle and that work hard, that grit get it out the mud, that blue collar way of approaching the game, right? And we're seeing, I mean, they took those young guys, they took them to the playoffs.
They did.
And it showed up. They showed up respectfully against New York.
Yeah, they
They
did.
showed up respectfully, man, and I think they got a lot of potential. But back to the Lakers, man. So what? Luka doesn't play defense. So what? So what? So what? He's a walking 50 points.
Man.
There's not a lot of people in the league right now that can get you 50 to 60. He's different and can pass the ball around another person's body. Figure out how to make it work around him. Don't blame him. He's exceptional at what he is, and we still trying to squeeze more, right? We have these athletes who are exceptional at what they do, but instead of having that exception on our team and then try to find the other building blocks to make it all work congruently, we just trash him for not being the missing piece to the gap that they might not be the reason why it's there.
And deep down, people know, like Lakers fans, they know we need a little bit more than just Luka. We got to have some bigs, bro.
Everybody
We got
knows.
to have some hustle players. We need more two-way players.
Everybody knew.
We need more scorers.
Everybody knew.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
a
knows.
real thing. Like everyone knew going into this series, let alone even after that Luka trade, they knew, okay, the Lakers still need to get a big. Lakers still need to get a big. They almost got a big from Charlotte. Then they reneged on that. And they was like, okay, well, we're going to keep what we have. It's like, okay, so we keep what we have. Okay, so now you got to work with what we have. And the thing was, how we got to the 2 seed was because of the spark of Jackson Hayes, a floor spacer, a person that knows where he needs to be at the right times, having good sparks, easy buckets. He was doing what Rudy was doing in the last game. Dang near. I mean, maybe not his amount of points, but he was still getting at least 10 to 15 points just from just being around. You know what I mean? That's one thing that we're missing right there.
It's a component to the game that you have to learn through the growing pains. You got
Yes.
to learn through the lessons. And how is a player going to get better, right? If you don't allow them to learn through the lessons, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, okay, he might have a bad game in the series. Let him learn from that so that he can come in and close out that series
For real.
for you. Now, if you just bench him, trash him, you know what I mean, get in his head, now when you need him to show up, he might not be there.
He'll lose his confidence.
He might not be there for you. And so that's what I saw. Like, it seemed like Luka inspired Finley Smith and Gabe Vincent and Austin Reeves to shoot more. And then all of a sudden we see an inconsistency. We see them some games shoot a lot and they do well. And then we see some games they catch the ball and they hesitate. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know when I see space and I see like the shot is there. Why are you not shooting and you're looking to pass it to LeBron or Luka? That has to be schematic. It has to be something in the system that says, get the ball here.
I was just about
Get
to
the
say
ball
that.
here. And I think as hoopers, if we're used to, when I catch the ball and I got space, green light, you better not give me space. When a shooter get the ball, you better be upon me. As soon as you catch, I'm Clay, green light. You see? Now, if they got to stop and think, oh man, I shouldn't shoot right now. Now, that's what people don't understand when they say mess up the confidence. These are NBA players. If any average Joe goes and tries to play one-on-one with these players, they're going to get smoked off the court. These guys are talented and skilled and gifted.
Yes.
What happens is the scheme of the game and the offense throws them off because instead of getting the ball and pulling, they're getting the ball and thinking. Am I supposed to pass right here? Are we supposed to run this play? Do I need to pass it? And how many times you see a guy run by the hoop to run to the other corner of the basket to then pass the ball to set up the offense?
Yes.
And I'm like, you just ran right by the hoop. You could have just spit.
Coaches in their head.
But they run because it's the play. I got to run by the hoop, get to the corner, pass the ball. And I'm like, score the basketball.
No, seriously. And to your point, that's what made me think about with Austin Reeves. I feel like they was trying to predominantly get it in Luka or LeBron's hand, primarily Luka's hand, to the point that AR was kind of not pulling the trigger like he should have. It's like sometimes I see it, I'm like, shoot it, what you waiting on?
What you waiting on?
And then like once he hesitated, as soon as it left his hand, I was like, that's going to be a brick. And it was a brick every single time. I was like, you can tell in the energy of how he has the basketball whenever he's actually confident with it and whenever he wasn't. And I was just a little disappointed. But you know what? I'm gonna give that a little bit. I'm gonna give him a little bit of grace on that. I'm gonna give it a little bit of slightly the coach's fault.
Yeah.
Slightly, yeah, it got to be JJ's fault just a little bit because there has to be somewhere in there where the scheme was, hey, Luka, this is your time to turn the switch on because we see you do this in the playoffs type energy. You know what I'm saying?
Big time.
And I think I don't know, bro. I think that's a real thing. You know, you see that type of energy and literally it just turns into, oh, okay, well, this is Luka's time. This is what he did in the playoffs last year. It's like, no, it ain't always like that. You know what I'm saying?
And here's the thing, though. If it is his time and you want him to carry on offense in the playoffs, and you got a polar bear on defense, how can you ask all of that out of that man? If it's in his hands on offense constantly, he got to do this, drive to the basket. And all you got these guys doing is standing and waiting to shoot the ball. They're not exhausted.
Yeah.
This bumping and that's exhausting. He's exhausted. I don't want to hear nobody fix their lips to say, okay, well, it showed that he got blew by 25 times. It counted for 20 points. Duh. You know what the offense did? They said, hey, here's a gap. He's their offensive driver. He's going to be tired. He's not a strong, dominant, prioritizing defender. Okay? Now he's the tired guy. Let's exploit him. So while they're over here just kind of leaning and huffing and puffing, Luka's over there getting crossed up. He's got to put his footwork together because they're targeting him. Right? But then we see the stat line. And they're like, oh, man, that was trash. It's like, okay, how about me and you go one-on-one?
Yes.
I got the ball. Try to stop me 30 times.
Yes, bro.
Try to stop me 30 times. I guarantee I'm going to get some buckets. You see what I'm saying? Now we put that stat line. Oh, well, 15 out of 25 times got scored. It's like, yeah, that's one-on-one ball because he's being targeted. So let's get away from Luka, man. They got an asset at the Lakers. Awesome. Build around it. We know that they went. As soon as that Mike Williams trade went back, it was kind of like.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Everybody was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
Everybody was like, I don't know. It was like it's going to be dicey coming back now. Mike Williams trade went back, and then the Luka one went through. I think everybody got hyped and surprised. That energy was awesome. I think it was good for the NBA. But now let's level set and get right. We need you to get a big. You're going to have to go find your big. I would scour these teams' benches to see who's second and third level on the depth chart. You know what I'm saying?
And I thought that that trade didn't go through because they saw something better. But they didn't even do nothing about it. I said, dang. It's like, well.
Me too. I think the front office said next year.
Yeah.
But the fans, you know what I mean, probably like,
now.
Can Luka and LeBron force this train across the line and put them on his back? I think LeBron's a couple seasons behind that. And Luka just needs to probably get in shape.
Yep.
Enjoy Cali, you know, get on the ladder. But if you want a guy to become a great defender, and he working with me, I'm put him on that ladder drill.
Yeah.
Put that ladder on him.
Got to, bro. That's the thing. Like, yeah, some things I'm just not understanding. Yeah. But for us, not even for us, for the Lakers to be able to go, second seed, not even having a complete basketball squad, and can do what they did, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. It's just sometimes you can't take those times for granted. Like number 2 seed, you can't take that for granted because now, I'm not saying LeBron gonna retire, but what if he does? Now that's a huge piece that you're gonna have to figure out. Right? You got to figure that out right there. It's like, all right. Trade. So now we got to figure that out.
That ain't no trade.
Nah, bro.
You know, you're not getting anything back for him. He retires, it's a wrap.
That's a wrap, bro.
Man, how we looking at you got Browns. They got a pretty packed QB room, man.
Yeah, they do.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you got your boy Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
That's coming off an injury. You got Dylan Gabriel they just drafted.
Yeah.
You got your boy Shador that was drafted in the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kenny Pickett, who at least is coming from a Super Bowl winning team. So he is around a Super Bowl or a championship type of energy, which is really good. I like that part.
I like Pickett.
But they're going to have to chop that down a little bit when it comes to the amount of Now, the people that's going to be in that QB room, I think Joe Flacco is going to be the one that's going to be starting to start off with because they're going to play safe. I think Dylan Gabriel and Shador, they're going to battle it out every other preseason game.
Yeah.
They're going to allow for one of them to start. I think when it comes down to it, Shador is going to be the one that's going to be starting, at least, in my opinion, week 3. Week 3 of the season, he's going to be starting. Why? He's been in a situation where he knows how to play without a good offensive line,
Yeah.
play it with a squad where he's getting pressured all the time.
Yep.
He has to make quick decisions.
Yep.
Things are not always perfect.
Facts.
And he also knows how to spread out the ball really, really well
Facts.
under duress. That kind of stuff, especially in the division that they're in, that's a real thing.
Hell yeah.
That's a real thing. So him to be able to already have that type of mentality, that type of knowledge now, in my opinion, that makes him pro ready. It makes him pro ready now. So nothing against Dylan Gabriel. I think that he's going to do really well too. But I think he's the type where he needs a little bit more protection around him to make things happen. I haven't really seen him under pressure to really see how he can do. Seen him at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He wasn't really getting pressured like that. Seen him at Oregon. Really wasn't being pressured like that. Last time I checked, they was the number 1 team in the nation. I like those quarterbacks that had to go through a little adversity.
Right.
Especially going to a program where Shador's already been in them type of programs. Jackson State, Colorado. He's already going to be ready.
Had to build.
Yeah. The reason why I say Joe Flacco's going to start for right now,
Yeah.
Joe Flacco ain't got nothing to lose. Joe Flacco ain't got nothing to lose, so therefore he's going to be playing loosey-goosey anyway. But I feel like that can only take him so far, and eventually they're going to be calling for Shador to be the actual quarterback. And also, I think here's another thing.
What's up?
I think it's a energy thing.
I think too.
Energy thing. The reason why I say energy thing is because of the fact that I feel like Shador can galvanize the team more.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of players on the squad, I feel like they actually want to play with Shador.
Yep.
That's a big deal too. It's like, okay, we want to play with Shador. We want to be able to build and nurture off of that confident swag.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think he has a confident swag that's contagious. It changes the whole swag for the team.
So yeah, I absolutely enjoyed the QB room that the Browns have right now. I mean, the more the merrier, because eventually you got 5 of them things out there in the QB room. Eventually, one of them is bound to be good. You got your experienced veteran who's been to a Super Bowl. We're not saying that he's an Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning of his time right now, but he's good enough to help you win some football games, and he's good enough to, or great enough actually, to help lead some young dogs, young hungry dogs, and I think that's a great thing. Like I said, I feel like Shador will be ending up getting that quarterback position when it's all said and done, because he's going to have, you're going to have a fan base, but he's going to have a whole team behind him. And probably not even a whole team, but a whole training staff around him too, that wants him to be the quarterback. Because sometimes, some things you can't ignore, and I feel like leadership is something that I feel that NFL organizations don't realize how much that he really has, because of him being in the shadows of his father for so long, and they don't realize that he naturally has that energy as well. Kids gravitate to him. People gravitate to him naturally. He's always going to have a camera around him. And if anything, if the program is in duress, he's the one that's going to be the nucleus to keep everything at a very neutral level, where they won't be too high, they'll never be too low. They'll always be kind of in the middle when it comes to their patience and their calm demeanor and everything like that. I feel like that's a huge thing, because a lot of times, when I think about Cleveland, they've always had a great defense. Their defense is great, but they get a little nervous on offense and they can't close football games. I saw Jameis help them close a few football games last year when he was the quarterback. Now you have someone with a consistent confidence like that going into games where it don't even matter. Like how you have the mentality shoot or shoot.
Shoot or shoot.
You got your Reggie Millers, shoot or shoot regardless. LaMelo Balls,
You shoot yourself out of slump.
Kobe Bryant, they do that. Well,
Bro, it's pro. James gonna let that thing.
what? And James gonna let that thing fly, but like the thing is, like Shador, he gonna do that too, but he's gonna do that with the mind as well. It ain't gonna just be, oh, I'm gonna just gunsling under duress. No, I see what's going on, and I'm going to sacrifice my body to stay in this pocket, no matter if the pocket's closing. I'm gonna sacrifice my body to be able to make sure that my receiver gets this ball to help us just move the chains. I seen him do that time after time after time after time in Colorado.
Yeah. I agree, man. You know what? I agree with everything you said. I don't know. I don't know what Cleveland's going to do. I'm kind of. I don't really have much confidence on what direction they feel they're going to go. It's odd. You rarely see something like this. It kind of shows me that they don't really know what they're doing. Feel me? You see?
Yeah.
They don't really know what they're doing. I think they're just trying to grab as many valuable available pieces as possible and try their best. You know? I wouldn't be surprised if they made Shador's journey a lot harder than it needs to be. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a lot of trades being made. I wouldn't say a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some trades being made or some releases being made at that QB position. I don't think the QB room is going to stay 5 deep. I think it's going to be a trial phase.
Yeah.
We got 5 QBs in the room. We're going to work it out, see who we can, move forward with, and shed the rest of the fact.
Yeah.
I think Shador is going to be a part of the group that they move forward with. I think maybe Joe Flacco and maybe a Kenny Pickett. I didn't watch much of Dylan Gabriel. Maybe he's their guy. Maybe they keep him. Who knows? I think, Deshaun Watson, if he has a lot of improvement, Deshaun Watson, we can't count him out. Because here's the thing about talent. How many times have we seen in the entertainment world somebody go through a lot of adversity and they fall off? They lose a lot of following. But as soon as they keep making music, as soon as they keep staying successful, now they regain a lot of that same momentum in the audience they had. So Deshaun Watson, I'm not necessarily counting him out. I don't really think they should continue to gamble with him. But I think if he comes back around and he's showing his athletic ability and his talent, we can't count him out. Now, ideally, I think Shador should get the job. I don't think it's going to take too long. You let Joe Flacco hold the reins, let Shador work his way in. But I wouldn't be surprised if they moved very cautiously and slow on Shador. I wouldn't be surprised. Something in my spirit is telling me, I don't know if they're going to treat him as a top 10 pick. I wouldn't be surprised if they treated him like when they picked him. You know what I mean? Like you're going to earn every bit of it. But the crunch part, and the thing about you just said is, I think that he's going to show something that we haven't seen, in a while, which is an authentic true leadership ability.
Bingo.
And I think a lot of times the confidence can mask, it can really mask the work ethic somebody has and willingness to work on their craft. And the fact that he's out there already right now, and he's working. And I think that that's the missing component that people need to see, because sometimes all of that hype can make a false perception, right? And make you want to point out the bad because it's too much projection of the good.
Yeah.
But then when you see it, they're working harder than everybody else, showing up early, staying late, out in the community, doing things with his free time he don't have to be doing, sacrificing his personal life for the team. The team not only respects that, but the organization starts to respect that.
Yes.
Then you start to overturn a lot of the negative sour taste that were put in the mouth of people who never saw you, who never shook your hand, who never watched you work. Right? You overturn that. And I think that will happen, and I think that it's just a matter of whenever that happens, that's when we're going to see the rise of Shador. Because once he can win over the organization, vote through seeing his work ethic and his seriousness, I think they'll handle the race.
And that's why I love that. Like he's already been going to Cleveland high schools right now and middle schools and stuff like that. I think that's a big deal because he was doing that in Colorado. He was doing that whenever he was in Texas. I mean, it's all the same thing. They don't realize that's naturally who he is because no one's telling him to do that. And regardless of what choices being made. It takes a lot to be able to stand in front of a lot of people and to be your authentic self.
Man.
And if you can do that there, you can do that anywhere. Because that translates to your play. And players, they can feel that. Coaches, they can't ignore it. And the ownership is going to see that as well. So I don't know who decided to draft Shedeur, whether it was, the coaches and they decided, you know what, this is too much talent on the board. We need to go ahead and just snag them. Or the owner is like, you need to go ahead and grab them. Whatever the situation is, I feel like his story is going to be phenomenal when it comes to how things are going to play out. I feel like if you're playing the game of we're trying to humble you and we want you to quote unquote earn every bit of this. Well, I mean, as long as you're treating him the same as every other player, you have the right to say, hey, Shedeur, you need to earn every bit. We're not going to give anything to you. But if you're playing the role of we're trying to humble you and everything like that, you're wasting your own time as an organization because you could be way ahead of schedule when it comes to winning, when it comes to galvanizing all of the teammates and the coaching staff and the training staff and the whole organization as one big family. You're delaying that progress out of ego. So as long as ego's not being played and it's literally just, hey, we want you to be truly authentic and we really want you to feel like you are just like everybody else and we're a team, it's not you above anybody else. If it's like that, cool. But let it be like that, because if not, you literally just wasted a 5th rounder. You're wasting your energy and your time entertaining me, meaning Shedeur. You're wasting my time. And that's how I would feel if I was Shedeur. But as an organization, they should be feeling very excited that you have a talent like that was supposed to be at least projected as a first-round talent, and he still landed on your squad because you traded that number 2 pick. Right? And you went down to number 5 pick. You still got you a great defensive tackle. That's awesome. And you got some great talent in the draft. But that talent that was there still was destined to still land with you, and you still got it. That's a sign. That's definitely a sign.
I think we're just going to sit back and watch and just let it unfold. Like you said, hopefully no ego gets involved. Just let the best man play.
Let the best man play. But you know what? It's good to have 2 good rookie quarterbacks. It's kind of interesting about this. You know what this reminds me of?
It might work out well for him.
It reminds me of when Washington picked up RG3 and Kirk Cousins. RG3 was the number 2 pick. Kirk Cousins got picked up, I believe, in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kirk Cousins ended up taking over that role later on after RG3 got hurt. And I'm not saying I want anybody to get hurt, but what I'm talking about is you can always pick up talent later in the rounds, is what I'm saying. And so, Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel, for that matter. Dillon Gabriel got picked up later in the rounds too. So, we're not talking about him much, but he has a lot. He got a big chip on his shoulder as well. But it's good to have 2 hungry rookies. That's fresh energy in the locker room. Made a best man win.
And that's the thing about talent. You don't know what it's going to materialize on the NFL level until you get there. Until you put them guys out there and you give them opportunity to see how they adjust, to see how they play, to see what holes were in their game that they're willing to fill. You don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
We can hype everybody up. We have top picks every year.
Yeah.
Some years you might have one year to where 6-7 top picks from 4 years ago make up the future of the NFL. Right? Yeah. But normally it's 1 or 2, you know what I mean, that actually materialize their whole true potential. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It might work out well for them. I think I like their approach of, hey, somebody is gonna get it done.
One of y'all about to work. That's like getting a whole bunch of lottery tickets.
I like that.
Eventually something gonna pop off.
Somebody, maybe I'll get it.